Hi, I'm back today again with an interesting discussion for a topic that is often spoken of but less attended to. Now, what is it? Mind control. Yes. Now you would say what new is to be spoken about this. This is a very general uh, occurrence in everybody's day-to-day life, and many of them come across such a problems related to mind control, and they also get away with the solutions very easily because it is short-lived timing and often caused due to some events that occur which are out of your schedule. And that is how in general in most of the cases, like I would say 80% of the cases it could be like that. I agree, but more often many of the other rest of the percentages of the people, they might completely miss it, ignoring the importance of uh, why they are going through it, and it could be really very serious, and they must give thought to it. Now, who are this 80%? These are the people who are into heavy day-to-day activities, and they include a variety of age groups. Not to talk about the students' issues are completely different, but yes, there is a serious dimension to it too. Then there is the college going class. Then there are the people who are going for higher education, and when they shift between places, the way they adjust and find the change in their way of dealings, and the ability to focus or concentrate on their work in a new place. Then there is a career oriented the career people with career goals. They have to go through this phase of losing the mind control and struggling hard to get into that discipline, you know, mode of behavior, and they have sometimes tough time. It may be related to some petty things like getting disturbed even by the food habits, the disturbances due to the food habits, small things, and they do matter a lot. And in the long run, mind control is not a very topic of people think that their mind is in control and everything is nice and running smooth because they may not be exposed to another situations where this brings into this brings a bigger picture where this mind control becomes a necessity, and there is a need to have some innovative way of dealing with this in a more efficient to be functioning in a more efficient way. But now, of course, the mind control relates to where often mind control is said, it relates to, like, productivity, performance, then about your output, your efficiency, all these things. Like, you already are in a good shape, and then you need some extra efforts for the mind control to bring out a difference in your performances. But this mind control is a day-to-day activity, and it is not related only to one sphere. So a person who is very doing very well in his office, in his job related task, he may exhibit a very nice mind control. Everybody is appreciative of his performances, his mode of behavior, his discipline, his time, his ability to show up on time. But that necessarily does not mean that he has a mind control. If he's put in a different situation where he is not practiced enough, like he's doing in the office, and then the situation is different, he might behave totally different. So, overall, a person's personality does not include all those qualities, and one may get misled when he is asked opinion about some person. So, it will never be perfect, I would say. But these things are we can leave them apart. But when it comes to mind control, the immediate thing is your work is getting halted. You're not able to focus properly. You wanted to do something, you end up doing something else, and you really miss on the goal, or the objectives, and then it gets really very serious. So, so today I'll be discussing about this topic on a broader sense, how it affects the society, and how it affects the individual's life too. You cannot say that you are safe in the house and you are only related to the particular, whatever your office space, and you meet only a certain group of people and they are all good, so it doesn't matter to you at all. And you are not concerned with politics, where this is often a issue most of the times because of the variegated opinions, then the brainstormings, then their own interests, their whatever interests they may have, and these interests colliding with all the selfish tendencies. So you would say, one might say that I'm not concerned with this and it doesn't bother me, but as a on a social level, it does hit any person who might think that he is in a very good shape and his mind is totally in control and all things are good. And so let's take a look into this in a great detail today. And I thought it would be nice to bring up certain things. Even I thought mind control means just concentrating on what things you are focusing and what are your present things. Like if you are writing something, or doing some write up, or anything in your office, and then you are able to focus, give it in the stipulated time period, and get the show the results. So I thought first it is only up to that, or then more over like learning some new topic, or if you are getting some new exams in the university, or taking up some exams in university, some courses, then I thought it is required there. So that was my that was where this was limited to. But now there is a even deeper impact this has, and it really needs a broad, understanding of how mind our mind is limited at times, and how we can grow as a human being, and how we can grow as a human being, and what should be the basis for it. So I will go through these points today in today's discussion, and I hope you all agree with this more or less. If not, but you would say these things are not altogether that one might face, but in some point of time in life, you do have to reflect on what things are around you, how they function, how they are impacting your day to day life, and on a general scale, um, how your even the loved ones around you, how they are also impacted. So if you have a better understanding of it, then you can have a discussion upfront and get focused way, stay in a focused way, and uh, you are well ready to welcome any such events that might come across, you might come across in in the social sphere. And so let's start. So mind control is similar to that which happens when people join cults. So this was never a part of my understanding. I never thought that this could one could face this in such a situation. Now, the what do the cult? Why do people? Uh, um, why do people face this change when they join some certain cults? Now, the cult leaders, they manage to coerce the strong-minded, intelligent people away from loving family, friends, and all in exchange for a false promise. That is what it says. Now, you will say, I'm not a part of such cults. I belong to a very nice a path where such things are not entertained. But even I was under a wrong impression. But these things from outside, the external factors, they might creep into your mind, and you may find yourself suddenly facing such things which are not which you are not supposed to go through because you are never part of such you know such groups. So, what do these leaders do? The cult leaders, they'll manage to coerce the intelligent and the strong-minded people, and taking them away from the families in exchange for a false promise. That is what the perception is, and people are manipulated, and but they believe that the decision belongs to themselves, not the manipulators. So this is really very dangerous. When somebody feeds into your mind certain thoughts which you don't stand for, and then one day suddenly you think that you feel you have to confront this situation where you are already accepted this manipulated decisions and begin to believe in it. And how did that happen? So that is where you need to be alert, and then you have to find out what is being fed to your mind, who is doing it, and why they are doing it. So it is very important to stay alert. And mind control is not just about, as I said, it's not so easy. These are also the things that could creep into your mind, and someday, and this is really very serious when the manipulators are able to manipulate your mind and you start believing, thinking that it is your own decision, and that's really dangerous. So human dynamics are, I have certain notes which I have jotted down as an when I went through all such situations to help myself understand, are they repetitive, are they a pattern, or they are once come and go away, or in future also I could, maybe 5 years and hence, or why 5 years, a year after, now it's 2024, I don't know in 2025 what the pattern will be. So I have jotted down these points, and I often analyze, is it a pattern which repeats, or it is something new that has happened. Now human social interaction dynamics are very powerful. Throughout time the people, they have been manipulated by propagandas and social pressure. Think now, thinking in the history, if you see, there were leaders and they could manipulate an entire country into, into influencing certain people groups in a wrong way and acting on it. Now there are many things that go in for this. Now this is on a broad scale at the country level, but it may not be right. So but when we study history as a student, we when we study history, then we have to keep all this in mind. It's not just for exam that you take up this history subject, cram things, and it's the most boring thing to cram the years, the events that occurred, the historical whatever, the bills that were passed, or whatever the historical treaties that might have been signed, or then the wars, their consequences, and then the peace treaties. So all these things, we as a part of history, we have studied in the schools, colleges, and later when we come, we find that there's no resemblance to anything in the practical life. These were all in the books, and it was a history subject. But if you see that it is not just to the books, it keeps repeating in the society time after time, and it is important that we study this pattern and align ourselves so we don't get a shock, and then be surprised and then confused about what is the next step, how are we going to face it, and do we ever need to face it, or it is to be, as accepted as a part of things that occurrence, as a part of occurrences that are sure to happen. Now there is a big reason for this, but still as a human we have to make an effort to understand this and save ourselves in the first place, if not others. And how? Because if you follow the wrong leader, then you will end up practicing manipulated decisions, and you will be responsible for your own actions. And as I said, the manipulators make one believe into manipulated ideas, and it is the worst when one accepts these manipulated ideas into that into, agree, they are in agreement of it, and they think that it is their own decision. So what is the mind control then? So Often such thoughts slip into one's mind, and he might find himself as a totally different changed person, and which is very sad. Now, if you're struggling with trying to rescue someone from the mind control of another person, this then I'm going to address the how it happened, and also what to do once it's happened. So, if you're struggling with trying to rescue someone from the mind control of others, when you and on a small level, most often between siblings, the elder might tell the younger one, stay away from this group of friends. They might just make you believe into something wrong, and you might start doing something wrong and join some wrong group of people, and get into something seriously wrong. So in general, one tries to help others by um, rescuing him from the mind control of other people. Now this is general thing that happens. Now this is also a thing, when you say mind control, one might think about just one person being alone, and he's struggling to control his mind, and not able to focus on what the task at present in his hands. So it's not just about that, it's also about rescuing someone you see who is under the influence of some manipulator, who is really bent upon manipulating that person's ideas, and that person is already a good person, very well accepted in the society, but because of the other person, the manipulator's influence, he might do something that is really harmful to himself. Now, human social interaction dynamics are very powerful. Throughout, throughout the, if you see in the past, people have been manipulated by social pressures, the propagandas, and some real, strong agendas. Now, if you, according to now, many of times when it comes to mind control, people immediately they want to run to a counselor. So counselor, who is the counselor? Then he has to understand the psychology. So of course there are many counselors, psychologists who will help you out, and they have a general pattern. They'll ask the same set of questions. They don't help to that extent which is required. And I must say that you have to take help from a person who really values you as a human being, as a friend. Running to the counselors, to the psychologists, and then you pay their fees, and they as a routine work. So they also may not be to that level. If you find a psychologist who is real, he has real hang of understanding the topic, the subject, then you are a lucky person. But more often uh, than not, people end up meeting this routine psychologists who give the same set of instructions. They have the same set of approach, the same set of questions for their you know the attendees, and people leave dissatisfied, and they don't draw anything um, valuable from this counseling. Um, so um, now, on a broader sense, since I have some time, and whenever I have some time, I try to dig into topics that are not concerning me, for my own understanding about what's happening in the society around, and how as an individual you are impacted, or you can make some positive difference, because you have time and you have some understanding. So it's always nice to go through such topics and keep yourself ready upfront. So when you go to any social gatherings, then it comes up handy, and you people around you also become happy because you have something nice and new to present. So now, keeping the target. Now, the I have here some notes, and so I'm referring to the points and trying to discuss on the same, expressing my own personal opinions. Now, as I said, the manipulators, these people, those who are the victims of such manipulations, they are psychologically made into believe to change their behaviors in order to meet the agenda of the leader. It is not their agenda, but it is the agenda of the leader, and they are aligning themselves to meet that agenda. So that is the reason why they would be, um, they would go into the acceptance of those ideas and decisions. The end goal for is for the target to do the needful for the leader. Now, in the in the this is for the outside thing, but when it gets to the inside the house, you know, uh, the end result of it is very serious. The often it ends into hurting the targeted, the parent. In other case, the end goal is to meet the fulfill the leader's personal needs for power and control, and even to fulfill his fantasies. And this leads to what would this lead to? It would lead to the hatred of the parent, the targeted parent. Such could also be the things. So, controlling the person's physical and social environment. Now, controlling the person's physical and social environment. So, this is so serious, isn't it? We feel that this is external, the social thing, but it is getting into your house on a different level, which is really serious. Now, and what happens as a result of this? The person who is influenced or manipulated, he may lose his he may lose his worldview altogether. The worldview altogether. So much difference it can create, and it could lead to even the cognitive. There could be some trouble in the cognitive understandings too. Now, the cognitive issues, understanding it from others' perspective, not having your own opinion, which is very, very required. Now, uh, and many often times these leaders, they target the individuals not for their individuality, but they are mere objects in the leader's personal production, where the leader, he is the director, he is the producer, he is author, and he himself is the writer, and he has his own saga around, and all this is centered around his own saga, personal saga. So these are the things that are observed, and one needs to be very careful. This could happen to anyone in his at his job place. Mostly often that is the place where one would get into this, and it could also that is the first probable place where, otherwise it could also happen into your own homes where you live and you are under some leader like your own elders. uh, but fortunately that doesn't happen most of the times, but that is also a probable area from where it could spring up. Now, what this manipulated acceptance of decisions, what it could lead to, there are a few things that I have taken from other articles, and when I went through that, I never imagined it could lead to this serious things. It would be the cause of outbreak into at the physical level, just not psychological level. So that is really harmful. So when we really get disturbed when we see it in the news. I personally don't watch any news, and I know the reason why this all things occur, and I know the reason. But if you have to work on it to help others or help yourselves not to get affected by it, then it really becomes necessary to understand the underlying causes for it. because you many times people are simple and they don't anticipate any such things, because they're simple, they are naive, and they believe in simple behaviors, and such are the people who, that they for them it is very surprising. But it should not be surprising. We must be aware of the surroundings and the society around us and the behavior of people, and they might look all good, and you might it would come as a surprise when a person behave totally out of way, and there is uh, no need to lament on it or express surprise or wonder at it, because you should know how the mind is. That is why it is said one should understand how the mind is and why it acts like this. And anyone tomorrow, a person may be very bad. He may turn into a very good person. A good person, he may totally behave like a animal. It's everything is possible. Um, on an ideal level, one would always say, no, how come you're talking like this? This doesn't happen more often. This doesn't happen when the goals are set and everything is working all right in terms of the results. But when the results are not achieved, what happens to that person? We have to also understand what could lead to. And so here are some points that I took from other articles, and I was really surprised how these points are also um, very important to be taken into account. Now, assault. Physical violence is one of the most extreme versions of coercive control. It uses physical pain to control your behavior and instill obedience. Physical violence can involve pets, children, and they may present as, like, hitting children, hitting another a child, hitting another child, because they are playing and then suddenly they hit each other. But because during playing that the other person broke his toy or anything like that, or they were into games and then the other person was not, he was jealous that this person is winning, keep on winning, and he's not giving him a chance, something like that. So hitting, then slapping, kicking, biting, use of weapons, and exposure to dangerous situations. Teenagers, they could just, pull out a car and go into reckless driving. So these are the behaviors that could result from such manipulated decisions and the ideas. And then there are the second is the threats. Threats are about the impending consequences, the consequences to in intended to create fear. Threats: if you don't do this, I will do this. You have to listen to me, otherwise this is the consequence. Be ready to face this, something like that. So threats may involve harming things you care about. Examples that can be seen are, you better not stay that way, else you will regret. Okay. Now, when it is between friends who are on a very good, healthy relationship, that is okay. But if there is a jealousy and there is some reason, selfish reason underlying, then it becomes really very serious. You better not stay that way or else you'll regret. What does it mean? It is serious. The next time you do that, the dog is going to the shelter. Some dialogues they have written down, I'm just taking it as it is. You're going to be sorry you did that. Now, the third is that these are about the threats. This is to instill fear in the person. Now, we're not talking about the ideal cases at all, where somebody is scolding other in a very loving way too, and then he is trying to show him the consequences that it could lead to, and he is trying to correct that person. But this is happens in an extreme cases when the two people together and they are totally now beyond tolerance, and then have a dialogue. So you better do this, otherwise face the results. So this is the fear, instilling fear. It is a form of a threat shown to the person to get his own things done. So these are the ways the psychology changes. Now the third, insults or humiliation. Insults and humiliation, it can break down your self-esteem. You can even a person may even begin to believe that he can't function without taking help from his. So yeah. So, insult continuing, we now on the third point, where insults and humiliation can break down your self-esteem, and it can look like, somebody making jokes at your expense. They are calling your names, regularly making critical comments about your appearances. Why do you wear the same color of your dress? Why are you dressed always in this manner? Don't you understand? You can do better. And humiliating the person even out of his physical appearance, that is really serious. Then fourth point is isolation. Isolating you can prevent your you isolation Isolating yourself can prevent you from verifying with others that relationship behaviors may be abusive. It may keep you from living and possibly force you to rely solely on your other the people around you for support. Isolation tactics, it might be to isolate you. The manipulators also may want to isolate that person from others, rest of the others. And why is that? And how do they do that? The person who is influenced, he may make excuse why he cannot attend family events or social functions. He might be under some uh, you know some false perception of about himself. It could happen. And or he may get a superiority complex, or no, if not inferiority complex. Most often the superiority complex goes unnoticed and the person suffers very much. But if he's in the inferior complex, then that is a different thing. There is a chance to improve. But if he has a superiority complex, then he might altogether avoid going to family events or social functions and isolate himself. Then using guilt to get to stay at home, and making fun of the interests. The other person might make fun of your interests to discourage you. So these are the isolation tactics. The fifth, activity monitoring. When someone is monitoring what you do throughout the day, it's a way for them to subtly remind you they are always around judging your behaviors. Now, when does that happen? So activity monitoring. This happens. This is really bad when you are under some person and he keeps monitoring your activities. When you join, when does this happen? When you join your new job, or it is a first job at the job place, and you're a junior, the senior might immediately get into this activity monitoring, and he might keep a note of you. And why would he do that? Because he thinks his position is in danger, isn't it? This is a very common example that one comes across. So when you, as a new joinee, after passing your college, and you get a nice big fat salary package, and you join a big uh, you know the corporate sector, you get into that, then your immediate boss, the superior, he might try to control you, and unnecessarily, by monitoring your activities. And you can do it in a very friendly way, or altogether like suspecting, why did you go there? You need not be away from your desk. That is called bossing, they say. You need not be away from your desk. And then at the lunch time hour, you should be only for 40 minutes, though it is 1 hour, you have to be back by in 40 minutes, something bullying like this. So activity monitoring. And then unnecessarily disturb the new joinee with what he's doing. If he has a leisure time, he's browsing internet, surfing internet to study some other technologies or some other skills, or he's exploring some skills for himself. And this person walks to your table, and then he questions you, what are you browsing, what are you surfing? And this kind of surfing is not allowed. You can do it with your own resources at home, not in the office. So certain, this kind of activity monitoring, um, this is uh, this is uh, this is on a small scale. It doesn't bother much, but then it can become really serious when we consider it on the high next level. Uh, And we forget we have gone through all this in life. We have gone through all these phases more often, but as we progress through the life we forget, and then we are again careless about, and we are simple and naive, and we think things around us are very good and they don't need all such considerations. So that is the point that is being highlighted here, and it's just about staying alert, and it's always good to know such points and such things may occur, because um, you may go into a new area where you don't know the people, you have not met the people before, but now for you first time you're meeting them due to certain reasons you had to meet them, and you know you had to speak to them. Now, the activity monitoring. Now this is a very funny thing. Whenever you travel, you're outside for a vacation or you have a work related travel, then the whole home surveillance technology, they're including, one is when you go into check into a new hotel you stay, when you're scared, is there some private webcam here? Now the webcams, now this today's technology, right? We have a very smart chips, just 1 mm size chip is also there, and such gadgets are there, so you may not even recognize that it is a camera. So camera, if you go, mostly when you go to a new places and check into hotels, then you might have this worry, where is the camera put in my room, and I hope I'm not being watched, and certain things you may want to ensure, and that upfront you have to do all these things. So in a bathroom you're worried, is there any, or in a closet, is there any private monitoring, is there any surveillance technology installed there? Then then, then the next thing is wi-fi, checking your some people might, they want to monitor your internet usage, browser history. Once you are done with the browsing, they'll go and find out what all sites that you had visited, and this could happen. And your own neighbor, colleague, he also might, just when you're away from the computer, and he knows your system, the all the authentication, authorization, he has the data with him, so he might, as a fun, just log into it. That is also activity monitoring. And then immediately here, if he sees that you're browsing some game sites for your leisure time, then he might make a note, and next time it will be in his mind, and he will, if he's a good friend, then it's not a problem, friend, colleague. But otherwise, then it remains in the mind that this person was doing this. So such things, the activity monitoring. Now, in our day-to-day life, these are the places where these things might happen. Now, using the tracking technology on the phone or the car, activity monitoring. We have, the technology is so advanced today that any person who is traveling anywhere, and if he has given control to his friend, in a way, there are always two sides of the same coin, positive and then the other one, which are then the other one. So on a positive note, everybody always goes for it. Even I go for the same. But on the other side, if somebody is hacking or tracking, monitoring, then they get a control of all this, and that's really sad. That's really sad. I may travel to out of United States into some other country, and my home people or my neighbor friend, I've given them the control, and they keep seeing now where has she reached, where has he reached, and then they get all the information in that app. Now where is that person checked into, how far is he, is he in his room, or is he traveling on the roads, and etc. Certain things, even with the the videos, they have even the videos or the snapshots also provided. Such smart apps are there. So tracking technology on the phone or a car, this is about activity monitoring, and it is about how this is all for the manipulators point of view. We are going through this point. The sixth point is the financial control. When your financial moves are controlled or limited, it can create a situation when you become dependent or even for basic needs on your immediate you know person. If it is a wife on the husband, she becomes dependent. She is dependent, but if the financial moves are controlled or limited, then she becomes a dependent. Even like if she wants to take a cab and then she's asked to go, oh, she's asked to walk, and it is a cold weather outside, and then she is deliberately asked made to walk through the cold weather to reach the destination, whereas she could have easily done away hiring a cab. now, you may also lack access to the resources to leave your situation. This many times happens, and it's very sad when the financial control sets in, and it could be due to biased decisions, and it is harming you on a psychological level as well as a physical level. So in the cold countries, if this happens, then that person, the insane person who does this under bad influence, it his decision could take a toll on health too. Now that is really very funny. Now, the examples of this are like it is very chilly outside. You need a room heater, and the person for the financial control, he asks you not to switch on the heater even when it is required. And this could be a manipulated this could be under the influence of manipulated decision, but also sometimes people fail to understand why they would do so and when they should not do so. Yeah, that is also an important part. It could be as simple as that, and it may look almost negligible, but it is also under the serious effect of manipulated mind control, insisting on sharing the financial account information. That is very individual, very personal, but yes, it is. And running up debt under your name, then that is really serious. It gets very serious when your all your achievements, all your resources, they are being misused. Somebody has taken debt in your name and he is using the money, and he is not showing up or paying the installments on time and such things. Um, this is all. This only very people who are very irrational would go for this. Generally, people are aware of their duties, responsibilities, but this is the case when you are under the influence of, yes, the manipulated decisions. Then about the sexual abuse, that is the most important part. All this on a psychological, physical level. The psychological level, it's okay. When it gets to physical level, then there is fight and pressure. They pressurize, and then the most serious it gets into is the sexual exploitation. Like at workplace, the inferior and the superior. Then they want to bully, they want to dominate, and they know that this person can be easily manipulated, and depending on their whatever, I cannot go deep into that, but the interaction of that person gets affected, and they are looked upon as very inferior. So that also is very important not to speak much on that. And then the eighth point is removing autonomy, they say. When someone takes away your freedom of personal choice, which is the most harmful thing that can happen. Freedom of personal choice. It's a form of control that dismisses your feelings and makes you real. It's really bad, and they make you feel inferior. Removing the autonomy, it gets serious to that level. Can you understand how serious it gets? Freedom of personal choice. Whether you want to say yes or no, refuse. And when you know that whatever is happening is totally against and not in the interest of the larger sector of the society, and still you have to face it and go through it for whatever reasons, your freedom of personal choices in question. Now, what does this include? In the house, on a personal level, I don't. This does not happen with me as such, but one should be aware on what levels it can get. Level 1, level 2, level 3, level 4. This is more for people who are stepping from comfort area into new place, and mostly like students who have to travel far away universities places and stay away from their parents. Mm, in USA it is the dorms, they have to live there. Then it could be autonomy, the freedom of personal choice, forcing or insisting the person to use certain products like the personal items, the body spray, the shampoos, the soaps, etc. And replacing your things with versions they feel they are superior, regulating your sleep, eating, bathroom activities. This is what that article says. Replacing your things with versions they feel are superior, regulating your sleep and eating. To that extent, you don't go, you are a simple person, you are into taking simple food, but your food habits are also influenced. There's no freedom of personal choice, even in regarding to sleeping habits, food, and what to speak of the rest of the things. So you should know when people around you bully you into something against your mind. So this is also, I never gave a thought to this. I always thought mind control means when you are doing something productive and you're not able to do it, and what you need to do in order to achieve the target and be more productive, be more efficient. But on a social level, this mind control thing has so much, there is it has to be given and looked into with great insight. I never knew about all this things. And then who you make friends in the society, when you meet certain new people, what are they into, what are their beliefs, what cults do they follow. It is all things that you must take into account, and it really matters a lot. And if they are in a receptive mode, they might take your bright ideas, but otherwise they might force you and manipulate your decisions too. Not only ideas, and when decision is manipulated, then the person has a serious time. He really faces hard time putting things together and getting back on track. So this was about mind control, and this article was really beautiful that I came across. And I often like reading certain articles which I make a note of, or then have them in my as a hobby. I collect them, and it's a great learning too. And one, I suggest one must go through such things and keep himself ready with all such understandings and the impacts of people's ideas. So next time, if you watch a certain news which is very disturbing, you're not disturbed and you know the cause of it, why it occurred, who were the people around, and there was certainly some toxic, trials going on in there, and they were unaware. So they fell a victim to all such bullying, harassment, or manipulation. And they come in very rosy. You're not able to detect it, but you have to be really very careful. It's not about doubting another person or suspecting another person, but it is about understanding the situation that you are in. So that was about mind control. And yes, thank you very much until I come back with another new topic. And I do this recordings for my own interest personally. I like to make a record of all such things, and these are purely based on the events that occur in the society around you. The news is the media. The media, that is the media where we are, it enters from. There's no discussion between people in the neighborhood too. They don't discuss such things. But when you watch news, you have to watch news. And especially, like, you can't say I don't watch news, but you have to watch news to understand what is the weather, that is there a storm, what is its impact on the traffic, on the the whole the requirements, the basic needs. So such things. And then on a bigger scale, is there peace in that area, or some, you know whatever, not to speak of it further. So you have to be really aware of these things if you are traveling and planning for a travel outside. uh, in these times, it is important to consider all these things, and then you have to be ready if some. And now, and I told you in the beginning of this video, if it is a pattern, then you know what to do. But if it is a new thing that has happened, then you have to be ready. And sometimes it is a learning thing, and the events have never before occurred, and you are really productive if upfront you have studied such patterns and are ready with your poise and a solution. Thank you very much.